What does it take to do good science? We think it takes 4 comedians in lab coats. Watch them try to make sense of complicated science they know nothing about by a mystery guest scientist they know even less about. Look at their faces. They are brave, they are cute, they are funny. What else do you want? This video is free.
This is amazing.
After each round of guesswork, we turn to our scientist and ask,
Is that right?
and we all learn something cool or nothing at all.
Let reason guide us forward.
Doing science right is overrated in Is That Right? Let's begin the show.
Welcome to the stage, Cara Hammer, Sarah Leclerc, Susanna Beckett, Erica Gooch, and my name is Dr. Kanu Pandey, and I will be your host for tonight. Players, have a seat. Players, do you know how the game is played?
Yes.
Well, do you know what we are talking about tonight?
No.
That's because the mystery guest scientist has been kept a mystery, as said in the name. But we know a few things about this mystery guest scientist, and can we see them? Their dog, their name is George Harrison Ford, and they are very cute. They love putting stickers on their bullet journal. And finally, their dog Harrison and Harrison's ex are riding in the back of a car in that picture. Players, what do they study? You need to get a clear theory and a clear hypothesis about their field of study based on these facts. Erica, you were very excited about something.
I was. Clearly, they study canine psychology. You might think this is George Harrison Ford, like George Washington and Harrison Ford. George Harrison Ford is the foremost relationship expert for canines in Massachusetts. The stickers on the bullet journal, that's just to take down the notes. And do you think they're back in the car to go to the park? They're going to therapy.
So the field of study is
Canine psychology.
canine psychology. Thank you so much. Love to hear that. Susanna.
I appreciate your theory, my esteemed colleague. I, however, would propose that clearly the scientist loves beetles, as indicated by both the name George Harrison and colorful sticky things, also a trait of beetles. The X, a husky, we all understand, is called Indy. Again, a reference to the Harrison Ford. And these are independent beetle studies.
So they study the science of?
Unattached beetles.
Unattached beetles. Thank you so much. Sarah.
My science is grounded in the bullet journal. Have you all used a bullet journal before? There are lots of independent dots that you need to connect and draw and put stickers in. In fact, it's almost like connecting cleverly George Harrison with Harrison Ford. And amongst those dots and connections, we have an X. I believe our scientist is an expert in tic-tac-toe.
Oh, that's right. Game theory or tic-tac-toe, similar stuff. And finally, Cara.
So my theory is that this is a person with so much emotional intelligence who I can't wait to meet. I mean, I don't talk with any of my exes. I don't know about you guys. And here's this person facilitating a dog with their ex. They named their dog after a great performer. And anybody who does stickers in a bullet journal, just emotionally intelligent, organized. So my hypothesis then is going to be that this person is a sociologist or some kind.
Sociologist of some kind. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Cara. Players and audience, are you ready to meet our mystery guest scientist? Well, give a huge 10 applause because we are going to meet them right now. It is sitting there, right there with you, Dr. Amber Boydstun. We will get you mic'd up right now. Let's review those answers first. Erica.
Canine psychology.
Susanna.
Entomology, specifically unattached beetles.
Thank you. Sarah.
Tic-tac-toe.
And finally, Kara.
A sociologist of some kind. That's an umbrella.
That's an umbrella term, that's right. Say it with me, folks. Is that right? Let's see the right answer. Dr. Amber Boydstun is the professor and co-chair of the Department of Political Science at University of California, Davis. She is also an affiliated faculty in the Department of Communication and Chancellor's Fellow at UC Davis. Dr. Boydstun is an associate editor of Public Opinion Quarterly and serves as the editorial boards on the editorial boards of Women Also Know Stuff. That's a website that just works like a Google Scholar, but specifically for women political scientists. It's amazing. Please check it out. The text as Data Association and several reputable journals. Dr. Boydstun is the author of 2 award-winning books: The Decline of Death Penalty and the Discovery of Innocence, and Making the News: Politics, the Media, and Agenda Setting. Dr. Boydstun hails from Penn State University, St. John's College, and the People's Republic of Boulder. That's right. Everyone, welcome again, Dr. Boydstun. Dr. Boydstun, for 3 whole points.
Yes.
Which of these answers do you think was the closest to political science?
Oh, I think unattached Beatles. Yes.
Unattached Beatles, that's right.
Yeah.
That's 3 points to Susanna. Can we get a...
Yeah, that's 3 points for Susanna. So that brings the score. Susanna with 3, everybody else with 0. Back to you, Dr. Pandey.
All right. Thank you so much. Thank you for the answer. You're now leading the scoreboard. Dr. Boydstun studies many different problems as part of her rich and varied and rigorous political science research program. However, we will be specifically focusing on one of those problems in the form of a fill-in-the-blank. Let's see it. Why do some news events cause a media storm? Maybe because the mass media follow a blank pattern of coverage. That's right. Mass media might be following a blank pattern of coverage. Players, you have 30 seconds to answer this question. And begin. So, I have a question about the name George Harrison Ford.
Yes.
Right. So, are the players right? Is that how it came together? Because it was George Harrison and Harrison Ford?
That's right.
And why specifically this dog?
This dog? Well, so he was named during the pandemic,
Right.
and my partner and I were talking about how to name him.
Right.
He was found in Lincoln County, and so they named him Lincoln, but it didn't suit. And so we were talking about other presidents or potential presidents.
Like Harrison Ford.
That's right. Well, I said Kamala Harris, and my partner misheard me and said Harrison. That's a perfect name, and there it is.
Wow.
Prescient.
Everything is firing on all cylinders. Thank you so much. Well, your time is up, players. Let's figure out the correct answer first and then find out if they got it right. Let's figure out the right answer. Why do some news events cause a media storm? Because the mass media follow a punctuated equilibrium pattern of coverage. Players, did you get that right?
Yes.
Erica, let's hear it.
I said that the mass media follow a hurricane pattern for the media storm because they start off strong and then they take a break like in the middle of the night, and that would be like the eye of the storm. Everyone needs a rest, and then they start that shit back up in the morning.
Right.
Like a hurricane.
Right, because hurricane is union. Thank you. Susanna.
Sure. Have you, at night, ever listened to punctuated equilibrium? It sounds like this. And so does sewing. They follow a sewing pattern. Clearly just another way to say the same thing. Thank you.
Many might unironically agree. Thank you. Sarah.
Yes, well, it is of course a storm, but a hurricane is not a predictable sort of thing, something that could happen in a pattern. But a Philadelphia legend who is very organized and studies hurricane tracks could, in fact, be very disciplined and patterned. So it's a Glenn Hurricane Schwartz. Thank you, famous ABC weatherman of bow tie fame from the 1990s and early 2000s.
Thank you. Thank you, Sarah. And finally, Kara.
Bear with me, I'm so bright. Okay, punctuated equilibrium is when it's like this, and then, oh, it's different. Instead of gradual change, it's like the same, and then different. And so I said sleazy pattern of coverage. And so here's the deal, like, you wear normal clothes every day, but then all of a sudden, if you're showing a little skin, bam, that's different. And then there's a need for everybody is interested in what you're doing because your outfit is so different than what normal people wear. That's what.
Sleazy is the punctuation in the equilibrium. Thank you so much, Kara. Let's thank the players, please. Let's thank them. And let's see the answers for all the audience and for Dr. Boydstun. Dr. Boydstun, which one of these answers, hurricane, sewing, Glenn Hurricane Schwartz, and sleazy, is the closest to punctuated equilibrium?
It's the hurricane.
It's the hurricane is the closest to punctuated equilibrium. I would even give 1 point to Kara for the great sleazy and punctuation.
5 points for Erica, 3 points for Susanna, 1 point for Kara.
Now that we have understood what the problem statement is, and we have understood that it has to do something with punctuated equilibrium, we want to understand what punctuated equilibrium is, and for that we will go into our next game, Podcast Shuffle. Please set the stage for Podcast Shuffle. So the way this game works is that we will be listening to a regular podcast interview to understand the concept of, can we see it? What is punctuated equilibrium? We will be trying to learn that. Erica will be the host of the podcast. It will be a straightforward interview, and they will be trying to understand that concept from you within 3 minutes or so. Once that podcast ends, after that, Erica will become the new expert, and they will be interviewed by somebody from outside who hasn't seen this podcast. And they will have to host a podcast not just like any other podcast, not just like a straightforward interview. They will have to host it in the format of a genre that I will get from you all. So how about from this particular section over here, what is the podcast that you like to listen in the morning? Like NPR, maybe news, maybe something else? True crime in the morning, specifically. True crime. How about you put a parenthesis morning?
Okay.
How about this middle section over here? Let's see. What is the kind of podcast that has been recommended by a friend to you very recently? Sci-fi. Let's put in sci-fi. That's nice. How about over here? What is a podcast that you would love to recommend to a friend of yours? D&D. Let's also put D&D. From over here, what is a podcast that has been recommended to you, but you just cannot get into it?
Bloomberg Law.
What was that, Dr. Kanu?
Bloomberg Law is like...
Bloomberg Law? Like Bloomberg's company, Bloomberg?
Yeah, but law.
But law.
Bloomberg Law.
Bloomberg Law.
Bloomberg Law. We've said it 3 times. It'll now appear.
Yes. How about we get one more? Something that you'd like to relax to. Anybody in the crowd?
Cereal reviews.
What reviews?
Cereal reviews.
Cereal like crunchy cereal. Oh wow, cereal reviews.
This is amazing.
This is amazing. Thank you so much. Give yourselves a round of applause. Lovely. Thank you. And Erica, you will now be hosting a podcast in the genre of nothing. Actually, you will just be hosting a regular podcast and trying to understand the concept of what is punctuated equilibrium. You have 3 minutes. Are you ready?
Yes.
Dr. Boydstun, are you ready?
Yes.
Awesome. And begin.
Hello and welcome to my normal podcast, my totally normal podcast about normal things. I'd like to welcome our guest, Dr. B.
Thank you. Thanks for
Dr.
having
B.
me.
Awesome. So what is punctuated equilibrium? I heard you're a foremost expert in that space.
That's right. It's a pattern over time where something gets a low level of attention at a stable rate, and then all of a sudden it's interrupted by a spike in attention, a punctuation.
So does that mean that it's always like an old topic?
It could be any topic at all, but the equilibrium is a period of relative stasis where it's the same amount of attention given day after day after day, and then all of a sudden you shift to it. So you can think about this in your own life where you're neglecting, a person or a task, and then all of a sudden you realize, my gosh, I need to clean the counter.
Sorry, PPA.
And you clean it all at once, and it gets all of your attention for an entire afternoon.
Oh, that makes sense. So what are some factors that cause it to spike?
It's because we can't pay attention to everything all at once, and so we tend to only pay attention to one thing at a time.
But why does everyone pay attention to the same thing at the same time? Is that like kind of required, or can it happen in like little like subgenres and like small groups?
Totally, it can, yeah. But when someone else is talking about something like a cereal review, then all of a sudden everyone in the room, whether they want to or not, we're all thinking about the cereal review and what does that look like?
That makes sense. So are there any precipitating factors that cause the attention to kind of like dissipate?
Yeah, it's when something else grabs our attention instead. So we were thinking about Bloomberg Law, but then all of a sudden we lurch our attention to the serial review.
Ooh, so what can I do with this power now that I know?
So knowing, as we know, is half the battle. And so we have to pay attention to the fact that in our worlds, we're going to neglect things, and then all of a sudden we're going to lurch our attention to them, and so we can be a little bit more even-handed.
I guess that's comforting, like, when you like pee your pants in line in the first grade because they wouldn't let you go to the bathroom even though you asked. And people talked about it a lot. Until, I don't know, something else like happened, like an assembly or something, just hypothetically.
Yeah.
Like a friend.
Yeah.
That was like a really bad week for that friend.
Yeah. It sounds hard.
And that's time! Have a seat. You will be hosting a podcast in the genre of... Oh my.
D&D!
Podcast in the format of D&D and asking Erica the question, what is punctuated equilibrium? You have 2 minutes on the clock and you have to understand it well enough so that you can explain it to the next person. Are you ready?
Yes.
And begin.
Hi, welcome to my basement. I'm really excited. I'm having some friends over for the first time. And we're going to play an unbelievable game of D&D. And this is my friend. This is my friend Trevor. And Trevor is here. Trevor, just say something cool.
Hi.
Trevor, you will be the lord of the land. I can tell it from now. Okay, so one of the things that I need to know, Trevor, before we start this game is I want you to explain punctuated equilibrium as though you were a dragon.
Oh, yeah. Like all the fire's in my mouth all the time, right? It's just always a low hum of fire, like a pilot light on the stove. But then, when the night comes, it interrupts my slumber.
Oh no, the night!
Oh. And then there's fire, just like a spike of fire, and then it's back to the pilot light until the mage comes. And then I'm like, are you interrupting my slumber? And there's another spike. It's punctuated.
Trevor, you've been given a vest of invisibility. How will you handle it?
Oh my God. If with the invisibility, I would totally slay his Achilles heel with my saber of justice.
I didn't know you came that prepared. This is shocking.
I rolled a 20 last week, remember? And I totally obtained it from the cleric.
I think we're gonna have to put a point in this, and we're gonna need some judgment from the judge and the host of the realm. So, should we put a call into Philip?
Sure, call him.
Okay.
And that's time! That's time! Keep that applause going for Kanu! Come on in! That's right, Kanu, you will be hosting a podcast in the genre of...
I just love my clipboard so much. Bloomberg Law?
That is exactly right. Bloomberg Law. You will be hosting a podcast in the genre of
Bloomberg Law.
and understanding what is punctuated equilibrium. Our new expert, Susanna. You have 2 minutes on the clock. Are you ready?
Oh, yeah.
And begin.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning into Bloomberg Law. We're here to talk about the law. And I have here with me
Dr. Susanna Esquire.
I repeat, an Esquire. Thank you very much, Dr. Susanna Esquire.
You're most welcome.
So, you know a lot of things, Doctor.
Correct.
And I know that when we think about Bloomberg Law, we're all wondering, punctuated equilibrium, what impact is this having on my law practice?
I appreciate the question. Thank you so much for hosting today.
Oh my God, you're so welcome.
I know. Punctuated equilibrium. It's a concept that I think about often at night. It's when there are spiking disrealities in the legal platform, things that could only be caused by magi straits misinforming the electorate. And in those moments, all of the esquires in your firm need to pay a lot of attention to the details.
Dr. Susanna Beckett, Esquire, are you talking about lies in the law?
We don't call them that. We call them punctuated equilibriums. Those little holes that you can see the light through.
Okay.
Yes. On the path to the fire that burns from inside, sometimes in your head.
And that's time! Let's get it, Sarah! For 5 whole points.
5 whole points, which I need desperately.
Which you desperately need.
Yes.
You will be hosting a podcast in the genre of
True crime. Morning.
That's exactly right. You will be hosting a podcast in the genre of true crime morning. For 2 minutes to understand what is punctuated equilibrium.
Yes.
You have 2 minutes on the clock. The new expert is Kara. Are you ready, Sarah?
I am ready.
Sarah, Kara, your 2 minutes start now.
Welcome to Rising Crime. This morning, I am thrilled to have an expert in punctuated equilibrium here with us, Dr. Slash. Hello, Dr. Slash.
I'd like to thank you. Nobody will see me, and hello.
Dr. Slash, you seem visibly agitated. Is there something about the punctuated equilibrium that makes you nervous today?
Yes, absolutely, and it's why I need to get on the air and talk. How many people listen to this podcast?
12.
Fair enough. It's a place to start.
Absolutely. So when I hear punctuated equilibrium, I think of puncture wounds. Is that related?
Oh, God. If only it was as simple as puncture wounds. Here's the deal. You got these holes in your brain. And sometimes you can see light through them. And when you see light through them, that's when you know your equilibrium is more punctuated than anyone can help you with.
Now, can you identify the caliber of the bullet that put those holes in the brain?
You know, we're talking about a shotgun shell situation.
Absolutely, that lets light in.
Yes.
Yes, just like our morning crime podcast lets light in on all of the different crimes that have occurred in the area. Is punctuated equilibrium legal in the state of Pennsylvania?
You know, you'd expect there to be some type of legislator about it, but It's not in any book I can find. I was at the library until 3 a.m. knowing I was going to come and talk to you.
Yes, I understand that your stalker is listening to the podcast right now. Is that why you're agitated today?
It sure ain't helping.
Sarah, you now have to explain the concept of punctuated equilibrium that has been passed down to you through many podcasts for the audience and graded by Dr. Boydstun for 5 points. It's a big opportunity. All right, go.
The reason that people believe all of the political junk memes that they see on their social media feed is because of pin-sized holes in their brain. Possibly by the result of some sort of worm, vermin, something, possibly shotgun shells. But in some way, there's a group that believes in mass media frenzy because they actually have less brain matter.
Now be honest.
Yeah.
On a scale of 1 to 5, 5 being they got it exactly right. 1 means good try. Where is Sarah?
It was a really good try.
Yeah?
Yeah, like a solid one, not a weak one. It's solid one.
That's 1 point to Sarah.
All right, that puts Sarah on the board with 1. Kara with 1, Susanna with 3, Erica in the lead with 5. And back to you, Dr. Pandey.
Thank you. That's very exciting. We have understood what the problem statement is, and through much pain, we have understood what punctuated equilibrium means. But we don't know how this particular problem was approached and what kind of methods were used by Dr. Boydstun and the team, and we are going to see that again in another fill in the blank. Let's see it. Dr. Boydstun and team made a long list of events. A very long list of events that caused a media storm, and blank compared them to non-storm event found by an army of blank. It's a complicated statement. Let me help you out.
Thank you.
Dr. Boydstun and team made a long list of events. You got me?
Yes.
Great. That caused a media storm. Okay, and blank compared, right? So it can be an adverb. They nicely compared, not nicely compared. That's all I can remember. Compared them to non-storm events. These media storm events were compared to non-storm events found by an army of blank. The non-storm events were found by an army of blank. That's right, you have 2 blanks to fill, and you have 30 seconds on the clock, and your time begins now. All right, so I want to understand firstly, I want to say sorry about all that happened with, that you study for the many years.
A lot, yeah. It explains a lot. In our media ecosystem, it explains a lot.
That's right, that's right. So just to be clear, punctuated equilibrium are not holes in the brain.
Correct.
At what point did we lose it in the podcast game?
Almost immediately.
Almost immediately.
Yeah.
So if you were to say it really quickly what it means, can you, to bring everyone on the same page?
Yep.
It is?
Yeah, it's a pattern of relative stasis that is interrupted by spikes in attention.
It is spiky. Thank you so much.
Spiky.
Yes. Thank you so much. Your time is up. Players, have you written down your answers now?
Yes.
All right, that's good enough for me. Let's see the correct answer first. Dr. Boydstun and team made a long list of events that caused a media storm and qualitatively compared them to non-storm events found by an army of talented undergrads. Sweet. Players, did you get that right?
Yes. Yeah.
All right, let's start with Erica.
Okay. I said intuitively compared because, you gotta just read the tea leaves to see is this better or is that better? Because there's not a number. And,
yeah.
Well, yeah, because there's no number. And then, who is an influencer if it's not a talented undergraduate? No one wants to listen to something. They're lame.
Thank you, Erica. Susanna, let's hear from you.
I hate to bring the room down, but the rosy picture that was painted up here could be stated in a different way. And I believe that Dr. Boydstun and team made a long list of events that caused a media storm, and eventually...
Thank you. Philly is a union town. Sarah.
Yes, I also believe that a good scientist would highlight the variable control nature of the experiment, and I would also like to highlight that as well, as the person who's gotten the most wrong this evening. I believe that the team uselessly compared to an army of preschoolers that went nowhere and decided to move up the educational spectrum.
That's right. They technically probably did preschool at some point, the standard undergrads, and Kara.
All right, I think I'm right again. Here's the thing. Here's where I'm going with this. So we've got a long list, right? So that's like librarians work with long lists of stuff, right? And librarians all have to be at their respective libraries. So if an army of librarians is comparing something, they have to do it telepathically.
That's right.
Telepathically.
Thank you so much. Let's give them a hand. Librarians do need to keep quiet. Can we see those answers again for the audience? Let's show it to all the audience. And to Dr. Boydstun for 5 points. Which of these answers is the closest to qualitatively and talented undergrads? Is it intuitively influencers? Is it eventually unpaid interns? Is it uselessly, preschoolers? And is it telepathically librarians?
Yeah, well, so because they were very nicely paid and given free food, I think that I would be best representing them by saying telepathically.
Telepathically, librarians get 5 points. Let's get a scoring update, please.
Indeed, that's 5 more points to Kara, putting her in the lead now. Kara with 6, Erica with 5, Susanna with 3, and Sarah with 1. Back to you, Dr. Prateekshit.
We have understood the method that Dr. Boydstun and team used to study why media storms occur and how they are different from non-media storms. They try to understand that, how the punctuated equilibrium process happens by collecting this kind of data and qualitatively comparing them. But let's try to find out what their actual finding was, but not so easy. We will be seeing one statement over here, and that statement could be the true representation of the finding, or it could be a misrepresentation, a miscommunication, or just a wrong statement. Some people call it a true-false. Let's see that statement. For an event to become a media storm, it primarily needs attention from politicians, activists, and influencers, even if it is not sensational. The way this game works is that each player gets 1 minute to interrogate or question Dr. Boydstun, for which, Doctor, join me in the center of the stage. Let's give them a round of applause. Thank you so much. Well, Dr. Boydstun, each player will get 1 minute to interrogate you, to ask you questions, everything except is that statement correct?
Okay.
And if they ask that, I will guide them against
doing
that. Players, you all have 1 minute, 60 seconds each. That is the statement, that is the finding statement. We don't know if it is true or not, and you have 1 minute each to ask Dr. Boydstun questions which can lead you to understand whether it is true or not. Well, let's start with Kara. You have 1 minute on the clock. Are you ready?
Yes.
And begin.
Dr. Boydstun.
Hi.
Hello. I'm going to ask you some personal questions, and you don't actually have to answer them.
Okay, I'm ready.
You from California?
No.
You're not? Okay. Where are you from?
Colorado.
You're from Colorado?
That's right.
How many generations of people in your family have a PhD?
Oh, 0.
You're the first person in your family? So that tells me that, not to disrespect your family is less educated than you.
But smarter somehow.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking about where you grew up and the people you were surrounded by and what inspired you to study this. And I feel like you weren't around as many politicians, activists, and influencers as you were like everyday people.
Coloradans.
Who I guess are more activist than most people, eh? Maybe?
They're more active. Yes.
They have a lot of rocks to climb.
So many rocks.
But I think I cede the rest of my time.
All right, thank you. That was 4 seconds and you used it very well. Let's thank Kara. Sarah, you have 1 minute on the clock and begin.
Dr. Boydstun, I'm going to ask you a series of personal questions about Kara.
Okay, perfect.
You can answer them or not, as you see fit.
I'm going to answer
But
them.
if you're going to look at Kara,
Yeah.
would you consider her a politician, an activist, or an influencer?
Oh, an influencer for sure.
An influencer?
Yeah.
And an influencer is somebody who goes onto social media specifically to get...
Not necessarily. You can have like brand recognition and just be out on the streets and yeah.
So what sort of influencer do you think Kara is?
Oh, a shoe influencer.
She is absolutely right. So she would put posts out to the universe primarily about shoes.
Yeah.
And then an activist...
But not on OnlyFans, just like normal social media.
Thank you for clarifying.
No, it's really important. It's a fine line. Yeah.
Absolutely. That was my next question.
Yeah. No, we want to move out. Yeah.
Absolutely. All right. So not thinking about Kara's OnlyFans. If she were an activist looking at shoes, she would actually take a strong position on them. Is that what an activist is?
Sure. Yeah, she would. She would take a strong position, and then for sure she would want to be on social media.
Would she have to push for change to be considered an activist?
And that's time!
There we go. So sorry.
We will never know the answer to that question. Have a seat, Sarah. Let's bring up to stage Susanna. You have 1 minute on the clock. Are you ready?
I am.
And begin.
Hello.
Hi.
It's so wonderful to have you here.
Thanks.
Do you remember the last media storm, and would you please tell us about it?
Oh, we're in one right now. Yeah.
That's very interesting because I feel that the weather is very still. And we in fact have lacked rain. I recall the last media storm, and it was in fact a heavy rain in Media, Pennsylvania. And it qualified as a storm only because the first 1% of storm water could not be captured, and therefore there was an overflow in the sewage system, and that's what equals a storm with the potential of flooding on the other side. Politicians paid attention to this.
I believe you.
Activists talked about it in the paper the next day, the failing of public works. And influencers kayaked. It was sensational.
I believe you.
And that's time.
Interesting strategy, no questions asked.
They were all implied.
You learned nothing. And Erica, you have, please, ask questions. You have 1 minute on the clock and begin.
Let's get down to brass tacks.
Ready.
What is a sensation? What gives people a sensation? Like, how do you say it's sensational or not?
Ooh, well, it's like the Supreme Court would say about pornography. It's all you know when you see it.
Fascinating. So this porn you're talking about.
Yes.
But what if teachers primarily pay attention? We like teachers. Why aren't they on the list?
They're strangely, as a teacher myself, we're strangely not influential.
Wow. That's pretty sad. But these people, you didn't say news people. That feels like media storm, like people number one. Where is Glenn Hurricane Schwartz?
And that's time. That's right on the 1 minute. Let's give them a round of applause.
Yay!
They did their best. Let's first review what our players think is the correct answer. So let's start with Kara. What do you think? Is it true? Is it not?
I think this is a chicken egg thing. I think this is false, and the truth is that it's the everyman who can cause a media storm.
Oh, wow.
And all of these people pay attention to it because we're trying to make money on us.
You made me think about things. Thank you.
So was that true or false? Up or down?
That is false. That is false.
That's false, Dave. Thank you.
Sarah.
I also believe this is false because I did not get enough information.
That's right. As you're saying your answer, put out a thumb saying yes or no so that we know what your answer is. Susanna.
I believe it's false because
it takes an accounting of water to know whether or not something's a storm.
Again, moving on to Erica. Do you think it is true or false?
I almost walked right into that one. I'm gonna say true. Because if Kamala's, like, the fact that her earbuds are not wireless is a sensation, that's stupid. It doesn't have to be sensational.
Okay, all right. So we have the answer. We have a false, 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 and true. Let's figure out the right answer. No, first of all, ask it with me. Is that right? Let's figure it out. It is false. It's false. And let's figure out what the correct answer is to correct this misinformation. Let's see the true answer. For an event to become a media storm, it must be all three. It must be sensational. It must be relevant to active debates and have attention paid to by political influences. That's right.
Political ones.
There's political influence. Not like Kara. That's right. Thank you so much. Now that we have understood what the problem statement was, what the concept is, and what the finding and the methods are, let's just understand what this research was and how it was done. And let's find out more about these findings from Dr. Boydstun herself in our next segment, the conference talk.
Yay!
All right. Players, find a seat in the audience.
Yay! Thank you so much for having me. This is great. Dave, thank you for the next slide. What are the necessary conditions for media storms? This work, as with most other great research, I think it's great, is done with a co-authored team. These are my teammates. And so let's start by talking about what are media storms and why do they matter. A media storm is defined as a sudden surge in news coverage at a very high level that needs to last for at least a week. So we quantitatively analyze whether or not a story is a media storm. And so why does this matter? Next slide. Thank you. Well, this matters because it doesn't go without saying what types of stories are going to become media storms. On this slide, I'm going to show you on our y-axis the number of US news stories about each of 3 natural disasters. And for each one, we're going to see how the news story played out over time from the start of the natural disaster. And the first natural disaster we see is Hurricane Katrina. And we see a classic media storm where when the storm, the literal storm, was not so big yet, the news coverage started out slow. It rose very suddenly to a big high level, and you can see that it lasted for several weeks before dying down. But by contrast, here are 2 other natural disasters that had a much greater fatality rate, right? But they did not become media storms. In each case, there was a small surge in attention, but at a much lower level, and they died out within the first week. And so this tells us right out of the gate that it's not enough for something to be sensational, for something to be objectively important to become a media storm. And so this matters because we then want to know what differentiates the type of stories that become media storms from those that don't. Taking a big step back, why do we get media storms? We get them because journalists and news outlets, they can't pay attention to all of the stories all at once. And so instead, they tend to fixate on whatever the hot story is at the moment, and they pay very little attention to the rest of the stories. Meanwhile, in other issue areas, information and events are building up, and when something hits a breaking point, they lurch to that new hot story. So then, in the aggregate, if you're looking at any issue area, like immigration or transportation or whatever, you see punctuated equilibria with low levels of coverage most of the time, interrupted by these surges, these punctuations that every once in a while are big enough to qualify as a media storm. Most news stories are not part of a media storm. 90% or so are just normal low-level stories. It's only 10% of news coverage that qualifies as a media storm, but it's those stories that make an outsized effect on us because those are the ones that really grab our attention and can change hearts and minds, get social awareness, and prompt politicians to take action. For example, on this chart, we're going to look at US news coverage again, but in this case to police use use of deadly force. Now, police use of deadly force doesn't really change over time. Every year there are thousands of people in the United States killed by police. But what we see is a pattern of punctuated equilibrium, where you see low levels of coverage, and then all of a sudden there will be some event that becomes a media storm. We see, for example, Michael Brown in 2014, and of course George Floyd in 2020. And so we want to know what makes the media storm the kind of thing that can prompt social action and policy change around the country, where so many police stations, for example, need to use body cameras now. And so we wanted to look at what are the necessary conditions for a media storm, and for that we hired a talented army of very well-paid, well-fed undergraduate students who are not unionized but very well-paid and well-fed. And we brainstormed a long list of all the media storms we could think of. And we just made it as long as possible, and then we quantitatively analyzed each of these items to make sure it was a media storm, and then we tried to find a parallel event, some event that on paper was the same kind of event, that had the same characteristics, but it did not become a media storm. And this is very hard. This is why we paid them so well. It's because this is like the dog that didn't bark, right? This was a hard thing to do. But in most cases, we found a parallel event, and then we qualitatively analyzed, well, what are the differences between this media storm event and the non-media storm event to figure out what are the necessary conditions. And what we found is, we're going to borrow now from Smokey the Bear, who tells us that you need 3 ingredients to produce a fire. You need heat, but you also need fuel, and you need oxygen. You need all 3 of those things. And so in our analogy, in order for something to become a media storm, you need that sensationalism of that event. You need it to be sharp and focused and sensational and surprising, either a big event or a revealing of information. And you also need fuel. You need it to hit against an issue landscape that makes it resonate for the American people, so that journalists can talk about it in some way that allows them to hook into current political debates or policy issues that are already in the news, because it's then more accessible to the American public. But then third, you need those influencers. You need either celebrity influencers on social media, or you need politicians to make statements, or you need people to be out in the street protesting. You need some kind of attention outside the mainstream media that then allows the media to write about that attention, that helps to fan the flames and produce a media storm. So in short, it's not enough for an event to be sensational. It also has to hit at the right time against the right issue landscape, and it has to get attention from outside normal journalists to become a media storm. And there's a giraffe.
Everyone, Dr. Boydstun.
Hey.
We are open to questions. Let's get as yes, you have a question.
Hi.
So when it comes to specifically like political influencers, I'm thinking about things like Pod Save America or like streamers like Hassan Piker. Where do sort of they fit into the landscape of influencer versus sort of reporter, those like non-traditional media sources that do reporting?
Yeah, it's a great question. So those are traditional journalists, and they're going to serve in this role as influencers if they do something that normal journalists can write about. So usually anything that happens on Pod Save America, journalists are not going to write about. But if there was, you know, like the Serial podcast, not Serial, but the other Serial. Yeah. So the Serial podcast, right, that created enough buzz around the various cases that they've done that allowed normal journalists to pay attention to it. Yeah.
Thank you.
You mentioned that we're currently in a media storm right now. I think I know the answer, but could you clarify what you mean by that?
Well, so we're in some version of a media storm around the 2024 election, and we're going to be in this series of like mini, you can think of it really like a fire, where there's a big blaze and then there are lots of little micro bursts of fire along the way. So it's just going to be a firestorm between now and November. But it'll be interrupted by things like the tragic Georgia shooting, which interestingly has not, I think, become a media storm, at least not yet. I mean, people have heard about it, but it hasn't become a full-blown media storm, in part because our attention is so focused on the 2024 election. There's not enough oxygen to go around.
Well, let's get maybe one more question. Yes?
Comment, it's not really a question.
Well, that's our last game. Not a question. Let's get the players back on stage. Have you been to a scientific conference? Of course you have. When you give a talk and when the questions are open to the forum and they are asking questions, they are usually comments and not questions. So that's exactly in the true scientific spirit we will be emulating that right now. And the players will be interrupting each other, positing comments, not questions, for 4 minutes. Whoever is standing right in front at the end of those 4 minutes will be getting 5 points for that last game. And then we will be adding up the points and figuring out who is the winner. Kara, you had a question?
No, I have a comment. I'm really pleased with myself about what I figured out looking at this triangle about sensationalism and how to get more people on my OnlyFans feed. I feel like if I put my feet in kind of like a Smokey the Bear looking like little fur and then light them on fire and fan them with oxygen.
I have a comment, not a question. That's incredibly dangerous. Instead, Smokey the Bear is such an antiquated analogy. What about snap, crackle, and pop? I think that snap represents how snappy it is and how sensational, and crackle is like, is there enough like oxygen in the room? Is it like crackling? And then pop is
I have a comment, not a question. Erica's been listening to the wrong Serial podcast. What I'd like to discuss is the very useful visual diagram, though, that showed the interdependence of all of the elements that come into a media storm creation, because those circles and angular lines represented an almost tic-tac-toe-like with circles and crosses in some sort of necessary pattern to show people.
I have a comment, not a question. The inability to let go of a theory is it's problematic in our field. Let facts rule the thought process. Let reason guide us forward, not our hopes and reliance on lines. And I have a comment.
You're talking about like reason, and you just fixated on water being the answer to everything in the quiz that we did. I mean, to me that doesn't make a lot of sense, and it's not very reasonable at all. I just want to talk about OnlyFans.
No, not a question. We're losing focus. Of course there's lines. And you know what they look like? The media site looks like a triangle. Why aren't we talking about the Illuminati? And how they're driving the media storm. They don't want you to know. They're like, look away, don't look at Haiti, because we're taking the money over here. We want you to look at Katrina, because
I have a comment, not a question.
You have 1 more minute.
Haiti is surrounded by water. Predominantly made of water. We are predominantly made of water.
Katrina has an OnlyFans page.
Not a question, but we're talking about fire. And what puts out fire?
Water, I have a comment. I know the answer to this. It's water, people. Aqua. It is the wet of life.
I have a question, and the one person who's qualified to talk to us today about water incoming in large masses is Glenn Hurricane Shore.
It's time to figure out who is the winner of tonight's show. Let's stand up and do a little drum roll with us. Would you join us?
All right, well, this is an interesting ending. Unfortunate that we have only one hat in your hand currently, but that's okay, because there's a second hat to the right there by the good doctor. All right, and the reason being is, keep that drum roll going. What's going on? That stopped real fast. I think the doctor could tell us what happened in that moment. Everybody just started paying attention to something else. All right, so Erica came in 4th place with 5 points. Susanna in 3rd place with 8 points. And tied for 1st place, I think because Sarah got that extra point, is Kara and Sarah both in 1st place with 11 points.
that she has a secret nude website. Checking out after the show.
And I think that Sarah and I will open one together as an endeavor after having worn two hats.
If I can keep this tassel.
I think you can. We'll call it Kara and Sarah Get Kosher.
Our scientist, Dr. Amber Boydstun. And as a thank you, if you could join us right now, as a thank you, we all wanted to give you a little thing, and that's. Can you show them? That's a bullet journal with stickers of Harrison. And if you could carefully open the book, there are some more stickers over here.
Judgment. Oh my gosh. Oh, and his ex. Her name is Lily.
Lily.
Yes.
No longer in our lives.
No, she's really
Not in ours, in somebody else's.
Harrison with his posse. Oh my gosh. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Boydstun. That was the show. Is That Right? Was brought to you by Susanna, Erica. Our joint winners for tonight, Kara and Sarah. And our doctor, Dr. Amber Boydstun. My name was Dr. Kanu Pandey. Come back again next Thursday.